Today, I'm going to talk about the fall of crypto exchange company FTX, Ukraine's takeover of the Russian-occupied Kherson city, more updates on the midterm results, and also a little bit about the Gen Z turnout. I'm Michele Carroll. Welcome to the News Diet, where I give you to-the-point news Monday through Thursday. Whether or not you're into crypto, this story is definitely worth knowing about, as it involves the downfall of a crypto exchange company in charge of billions of dollars, some of them being from big-name celebrities, and also this scandal is sparking a wider conversation around the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. The company I'm talking about is FTX. FTX is a cryptocurrency exchange company that was just founded in 2019 and is headquartered in the Bahamas. In just a couple years, it's grown to over 1 million users, and early this year was at a $32 billion valuation. FTX had a reputation for being a stable and reliable firm in an industry with still a lot of uncertainty, even garnering endorsements of high-profile investors like Tom Brady and Giselle, Steph Curry, Naomi Osaka, Shaquille O'Neal, entrepreneur Kevin O'Leary, and more. What happened was on Friday, the company announced that it was filing for bankruptcy. This was after a really tumultuous week that has unveiled a lot of the company's business operations, which just accelerated the downfall. So let's start at the beginning. On November 2nd, CoinDesk, which is a website dedicated to digital currency news, published an article about the close ties between FTX and the trading firm Alameda Research, which happened to have the same founder, Sam Bankman-Fried. What they uncovered was that a huge portion of assets on the Alameda Research balance sheet, about $5.8 billion out of its $14.6 billion valuation, were tied up in the FTT token. The FTT token is the cryptocurrency of FTX. So while this alone wasn't necessarily an illegal act, it did at the very least seem suspicious that this trading company's biggest asset was the digital currency of its sister company instead of more independent assets like fiat or maybe another crypto like Bitcoin. So the spread of this revelation alone caused a massive withdrawal of funds from FTX, which according to CoinGlass, at one point had left the exchange with a balance of just 1 Bitcoin. Apparently, that's now rebounded to about 36 Bitcoin, but that's compared to the 500,000 Bitcoin held by competitors Coinbase and Binance. This sudden lack of liquidity reportedly led founder Bankman-Fried on a hunt for someone to acquire the company fast. And on November 8th, last Tuesday, a tentative deal with Binance was announced, and also that all cryptocurrency withdrawals would be suspended. But just the next day, Binance withdrew the offer, and on Friday, FTX filed for bankruptcy. And then on top of that, the exchange appeared to experience a hack where a suspected $477 million was taken, and all trading and withdrawal capabilities have now been paused. Over the weekend, more and more details have been uncovered, but there's still a lot that needs to be confirmed. As of right now, CNBC is reporting that FTX was lending money to Alameda Research from investor accounts without ensuring that enough was left behind in case investors wanted to withdraw their money, which trading platforms are required to do. Apparently, these customers, as well as most employees, didn't know that funds were being used this way, which is also illegal. The crypto industry is pretty used to weathering ebbs and flows of the market, but the unraveling of FTX has seemed to hit different this time, because in just 1 week, founder Bankman-Fried went from being seen as a well-respected and selfless leader with, by the way, a net worth of $16 billion, to possibly broke and without a job after his resignation from FTX. Bankman-Fried was seen as a white knight in the industry, swooping in to supposedly save struggling companies like BlockFi and Voyager. The 30-year-old claimed to adhere to what's called effective altruism, which is a sentiment shared by some other billionaires to make as much money as possible in order to give it all away. But now, he finds himself in the middle of a criminal investigation. And another angle to him that likely will unfold more in upcoming days is his massive political support and donations during the midterm elections, and questions on where that money came from. He was the second largest donor to Democrats, spending $36 million just after George Soros. He joined the Washington scene in his advocacy for digital asset legislation and even once vowed to donate $1 billion to candidates who supported his causes. This story has only just begun, so I'll definitely be covering updates in the future. Before moving on to the next story, I just want to ask if you can hit that subscribe button so you can continue to get notifications on new episodes and follow along as the news diet grows. Ukraine has reclaimed the southern city of Kherson in what's seen as a victory in their fight to take back their country after now 9 months of fighting. Russia took over the city early on, and it's since seen about 3/4 of its population flee, leaving about 75,000 people left. The infrastructure is reportedly still widely intact, although the city currently doesn't have access to much running water or power. And this is just one territorial takeback in a string of cities previously occupied by Russia throughout the fighting. I've said before that while Russia is struggling more than originally expected, the war is still far from over. I recently spoke about the conversation starting to unfold over whether or not Ukraine should be considering some kind of peace talks. If you want to watch that, I'll link the video here. With the freezing winter months almost here, people aren't sure if this will mean a pause in the fighting or just a really rough few months where the war continues, but the repercussions become even more dire as the need for food and energy increase. Both sides are holding strong to their convictions, so as of right now, there's still no diplomatic light at the end of the tunnel. More midterm election results have come in over the weekend, the big news being that Democrats will be holding their slim majority in the Senate at 50 seats to the Republicans' 49. We're still waiting on the results out of Georgia, as Senate candidates Warnock and Walker are headed to a runoff election next month, as neither hit the 50% threshold to win outright. So now, all eyes are on the House. If Democrats keep their majority there too, then they keep their control over legislative and executive branches like they have the last 2 years, and that would be an even bigger reversal of the expected Republican wave. As of now, Democrats have secured 203 seats to the GOP's 212. Whoever secures 218 will have the majority. Obviously, the bigger the majority, the bigger the control over congressional votes, but at this point, it's looking pretty close either way. Another interesting angle of the midterms is the data coming out on Gen Z turnout, which was the second highest in the last 30 years. About 27% of voters between the ages of 18 to 29 voted, when the average is usually closer to just 20%. Although the 2018 midterms saw about 31% of Gen Zers turn out. Here, enthusiasm was especially high in battleground states like Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, which does make sense considering that more money and energy went into these states. It's a pretty well-known fact that young voters tend to lean Democrat, and that was definitely the case here, with Gen Z voting blue by a 28-point margin. Like I talked about last week, this was also the first election where this generation was eligible to run for office, which did see the election of the first Gen Z member into the U.S. House, with the election of 25-year-old Maxwell Frost in Florida's 10th Congressional District. You've just been informed, so now it's time to get on with your day. I'm Michele Carroll. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode and want to continue following a healthier alternative for staying informed, where I forgo partisan fighting and fear-driven narratives and just get to the point, then please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as of course you'll get more of this show in your feed, and also you'll be helping this new channel grow and reject sensational media. Thank you so much for your support, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.